Hello everyone, welcome to another limited color palette video. Today I will be using these three colors, these three new tubes that I have just bought. This is Schmincke Pure Yellow PY154, a variation of Azo Yellow, which is a very intense yellow. This is Cobalt Blue Deep PB74, one of my favorite blues because of the intense granulation. And this is Magenta PV42. Now this has only 3 stars out of 5 for the light fast rating. This has 5 stars and this has 4 stars. Since most of my watercolor works are in sketchbooks, having 3 stars here shouldn't be that much of a problem. Now I don't use Schmincke colors a lot because here in Singapore they are actually 20 to 30% more expensive compared to Daniel Smith paints. Let's paint some color swatches first before we use these colors to paint a sketch that I have just drawn. So this is PY154. A very intense yellow. It looks very similar to Hansa Yellow Medium actually, but this is actually the more expensive version. Just for comparison purposes, I'm going to paint some Azo Yellow from Daniel Smith on the side. So this is PY151, and I think this is a bit more vibrant compared to PY154. And this is PY150 Nickel Azo Yellow. This is also Azo Yellow, but a different version. This looks a bit warmer. And lastly, I have Schmincke Transparent Yellow, which is also PY150. So these two colors, they look pretty similar. Maybe the Daniel Smith version is a bit warmer. Next we have Magenta PV42. This paper that I'm using, this is Indigo ArtPapers, 100% cotton watercolor paper that's handmade. So this magenta, it's very vibrant. And lastly we have Cobalt Blue Deep. This is one of the more expensive blue. While waiting for those swatches to dry, let's create some mixes. So let's start with yellow and magenta. Let's see what we can get. So we can see some beautiful reds here, and yellow and blue. This looks like a warm green, and granulation, it's very obvious. Lastly, magenta and cobalt blue. Let's see if we can get a bright purple, a vibrant purple of this mix. It's not too bad, it's quite nice. And now let's have the 3 colors together. So yellow, magenta, and blue. Let's see if we can get some beautiful grays. Maybe a bit more blue here. A bit more yellow, a bit more red. So the swatches have dried very nicely. So these are the different versions of Azo Yellow. And it seems like Daniel Smith's Azo Yellow PY151, this looks like the most vibrant mid yellow among the 4 here. Maybe I did not use as much paint here, but here I think the vibrancy of the color sort of matches Daniel Smith's version here. So maybe I didn't use enough paint there. I don't think I can get a classic bright warm orange with pure yellow and magenta. So this is more red, and I don't really see any orange here. Maybe I need to test it out more later on. So this is the green. Now Cobalt Blue Deep, the pigment is very heavy, so it really settles into the grooves, into the valley of the paper, so we can see this beautiful color separation. We can see the yellows and we can see the blue, and they work together to create that green. Same here, you can see the cobalt blue settling down onto the paper. It doesn't mix completely with magenta, and I think this is one of the more granulating version that I've seen. The other version that is quite granulating, it's Kramer Pigments version of Cobalt Blue Deep. This is the mix of the three colors. I didn't mix this as completely as I wanted to, so it's not like the perfect neutral gray. And this color separation from Cobalt Blue is the main reason why I love this color so much. You can see this blue working with the yellow, working with the red, and you can see the three individual colors still very obviously. So this is the sketch that I'm going to paint, and I drew that with the help of this reference photo, which you can download in the video description below. So we have a very cloudy day, but I'm going to paint blue onto the sky here just to, well, make it less white and more interesting. For the wall here, for this building here, it looks like a mix of yellow and magenta. We have very obvious greens and very dark shadow greens here, and the road, it's mostly gray. So yeah, not too many colors. Let's wet the sky first so that the blue can flow. This should be sufficiently wet. So Cobalt Blue Deep, this is not as bright compared to Phthalo Blue and Cerulean Blue. And now for the tree here, which is going to be a mix of Pure Yellow and Cobalt Blue. For the building, it's mostly in this yellow, pink, orange like color. So this means I'm going to need to use a lot of magenta. For the road, for this portion here, this is going to be a mix of the three colors to form the gray. So earlier on, while I was painting the swatches, I wasn't that successful. Let's see if I can mix the gray here successfully. And now it's time to paint the shadows. This is a very cloudy day, so not a lot of cast shadow to speak of. I feel like I shouldn't cover all those beautiful granulation. But this tree here, it does need to be a bit darker at certain areas. Maybe it just needs a bit more blue. If I'm using ultramarine, this is also how I would darken the green by adding more ultramarine. This would be gray. Certain areas need to be a bit darker. This is a concentrated mix of the three colors, which I'm going to use to paint the shadow beneath the tuk-tuk. This vehicle here, this is called the tuk-tuk in Thailand. And now to add some finishing touches with the white gel pen. I'm using this to draw the fence around the building. This white gel pen is made by Sakura. This is the Sakura Jelly Roll. This is one of the better white gel pen that I have used. And here as well. So this is the completed sketch painted using the 3 colors from Schmincke, and I've got to say that these colors, they are really vibrant and they work very well together. So earlier on I said I wasn't able to get orange, but sometimes when you're painting swatches like this, it's very difficult to get a sense of how the colors would actually work in a real artwork. So here I am able to get some orange, and the orange here are quite beautiful. As much as possible, I try to use wet on wet techniques for these large areas of washes, so I have the colors blend together and they really blend together quite beautifully, quite softly. I love the gradual transition of colors here. So for the trees, Pure Yellow and Cobalt Blue Deep, this area here, the shadow, the darker area here, this was glazed over with another layer of Cobalt Blue Deep. In one of my earlier videos on granulating blues, someone mentioned that the Cobalt Blue Deep from Schmincke, it granulates a lot, and now that I have seen this, I've got to say that I really love the texture. This is very beautiful. So we have the white on the red, the magenta. We have some gray here. Not totally gray, but it's a mix of the 3 colors to get some sort of neutralized tone. And this works really well for the road. And this is, you see these depths of paint here. These are pure magenta painted over the wash. This is the tuk. So for this color here, this and this part here, these were mixed with the 3 colors. So this is yellow and blue, and this shadow beneath mixed with the 3 colors. You can see a little bit of purple or magenta or violet. That's because I have a bit more magenta and cobalt blue here. I added a bit of yellow to sort of neutralize that, but you can get a rather dark wash, which is great. So I use the same wash here as well. So you see these areas here, they are quite dark, so I have a lot of contrast here. But I think you do need to use a lot of cobalt blue to get this intensity. We can see more granulation here at the bottom. The places where you lift up the brush, the places that collect a bit more water, those places seem to be darker because of the sedimentation from Cobalt Blue Deep. So we have this light neutralized wash for the roof and this white to contrast against the sky. I really love this limited color palette. The colors, they work really well, and the quality from Schmincke, really top notch. I'm very happy I bought these 3 colors during a sale from Jackson's Art, where they discounted these colors 20% off. So if there wasn't any discount, I probably wouldn't have bought this because Schmincke is quite expensive. I'm always on a lookout for good sales and discounts, so if you don't want to miss out on a deal, you can follow me on my blog and also subscribe to my YouTube channel, where I would sometimes share some good deals. Oh, before you go, I just want to let you know that I am selling off some of my excess watercolor paint to make space to get more colors and more brands to test and also feature on my YouTube channel. So if you're interested to get some colors, some paint from me, you can check out the colors that I'm selling. The link is in the video description below. So that's one way you can support my channel. Thanks for watching today's video. I hope this is helpful. See you in the next video. Bye!